Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha from the team here at UserSnap, and I'm so excited to have Mario join us today to talk about product-led growth and user feedback. Mario, please, I'll let you introduce yourself, and set the scene a little bit for us for our discussion today.
Yeah, well, awesome, Samantha. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm Mario. I'm a growth product uh, practitioner. I don't like to say manager or leader or whatnot because I'm pretty much hands-on. I have many years of experience, mostly in B2B and software as a service. I've been lately focusing on helping companies adopt product-led growth strategies to improve acquisition, retention, and monetization. And obviously, user feedback is key for all of those stages. Even in some companies that I help before even product market fit, relying on feedback from customers is absolutely crucial. So yeah, happy to be here and dive right into all of these.
We're collecting feedback at all different stages. So some companies, when they're really about to launch their new product, so then validating new features, and then of course the post-release. Throughout that entire journey or process, your user feedback and product like data is so important. And also just specifically for the user feedback, it's being able to make it easy to collect that feedback, then being able to prioritize that so your team can act on it and act on the right things. And then of course, like the post-release, like validating that what you have done is what your customer, that's the outcome they were looking for. So I think you would agree that the feedback is like really the foundation to make you successful in those different stages.
Totally agree. I think that, and we can't forget that there's also the strategic direction that the teams want to add, like where they want to go. They have a vision, they have a strategy, and so on. And so the two combined are very much key. The reason why I'm saying this is obviously we cannot just rely on user feedback to build a product, because sometimes, well, it would result in a product for everybody, and a product that is for everybody is for no one really. And so there's that. But what I would say without doubt is that without feedback, there's absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And so you can have a strategy and whatnot, but that alone will not take you anywhere.
Exactly. So it's like being able to incorporate the feedback with the data, with your strategy, making sure that that is always, part of the process and not eliminated from the process. When you're, validating, building a new feature, could you share some like insight on your thoughts on the voice of the customer?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with a short story. Back when I was at OutSystems, a B2B company that builds software for developers. Back when I was working there, it was more or less middle of the week, and I had this migraine. And migraines, for people that don't know, can put you in bed for 24 to 48 hours. I have my share of those every now and then. And I had this migraine. I had to go home, and I had nothing to do. Our team at the time was really struggling, figuring out what next. What do we do next? What priorities do we do next? Big team of maybe 100 people in product. And I remember that I woke up after sleeping like for 4 hours or 6 hours. It was late in the afternoon, and I couldn't sleep the night. So I'm like, okay, I don't know why, but I started reading user reviews manually, all of them. And we had like 600 of those, and I read them all. Like there was no AI, there was nothing. I just read them all in 12 hours. And as I was reading them, I was tagging them. I was I was tagging them, I was clustering them, grouping them, and whatnot. And in parallel, I was creating this tree of opportunities. If you want to know more, check out Teresa Torres' book. I was creating an opportunity solution tree with all the clusters and all the opportunities and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I read them all, and I took this to my team Monday. And hey, folks, here's what I found out. And like they look at that, and they were flabbergasted with the clarity and with the clarity and with the clarity of priorities, the clarity of pains, the clarity of opportunities. They were flabbergasted with that. And so that became the strategy, because that became the strategy. And then I remember someone asking, how did you analyze this? What algorithms and whatnot? And I said, I just read them all.
Yeah, wow.
I read them all. This was manual work. And this became part of the culture, which we later called eating the broccoli. If you don't like broccoli, this makes sense. So this was a crucial point for me and for this particular team, for all of us, to really pay attention, to really pay more attention to what your customers are saying. And we were lucky enough to have 400 or 600 reviews already. Right? Some companies struggle getting the first 10, 20. We can talk also about that. But so what you have to do essentially is go over your feedback. First of all, ask for feedback, then go over all of it. Everyone should read everything. If you're in product or growth, you should read everything and then act.
Right.
If we can find tools and ways to make this easier, faster, and better, like we're going to discuss maybe later, awesome. But this moment stuck with me forever, and I do this since then. It's been like I don't know, 10 years or something.
Curious, since you're working with so many different companies, you have such a long experience. What are some of the challenges you see companies or teams having when collecting feedback? I know that you just mentioned, having that 600 feedback was great, but sometimes it's a struggle to even get that, like asking for it, and when do you ask for it? And that's a whole process in its own that needs to, it's difficult at times.
Yeah, for sure. So let's start with the asking the first part of the question, I guess. So some companies that I'm seeing that they don't even ask for feedback after launching new features. They launch, they send an email, everybody's happy, we launched, but they don't do the next step. To me, it's a natural one of validating if that particular feature helped users achieve the outcome that the feature was built for. So that to me is critical. At the feature level, you design the feedback, experience as part of the feature, and we should hold ourselves accountable for making it work. So as far as feature launching and when to ask feedback, that would be it. Also, if you're running a mature product, running some sort of customer satisfaction survey overall, or NPS survey, to measure your customers' overall satisfaction, I would recommend running that every 3 months, at least, if you're running a mature product. And more in the beginning of the user's journey, I also like to ask feedback. Like, say, for example, someone just upgraded. Ask them, for example, how was there anything in this journey that almost made you quit this upgrade process? Don't do that before they upgrade. Do that after, because you don't want to add that friction. But always try to learn how users perceive the product. I would say that that is pretty much it. We can dive in if you want in some of these. Happy to.
No, yeah, no, that's really great. And you're so right. Like for us, we're always asking that about customers because, of course, we believe that, making the feedback matter and listening and, collaborating on that together is really valuable. That brings us to maybe we could share with our viewers some, because I'm sure, like you were saying, you read through that feedback 600, manually and then clustered them together by yourself. And I'm sure that took time. But there are, as you know, easier ways today and how to make that process not just faster, but more efficient and more accurate. So I could share the screen so the viewers could be able to um, come along here. Just this. Okay. And for example, if we were like, there are all different types of like surveys and stuff that you could create. For example, like you were just mentioning earlier, like the product market survey, being able to directly ask this question, be able to have it placed at the right time, right place. This is just a product market survey fit, but you could also, there's multiple different like templates you could use, but I really wanted to like focus on this page because when you were explaining your process, like you said, it took so long. There are so many with UserSnap, you could do that in a more efficient and like an effective way. For example, like now that you say you launched your survey, you could be able to easily see all of the feedback that's coming in, search and filter by it, really then have the capabilities of having directly knowing what the feedback is referencing with like advanced screen capturing tools like this. You could then also be able to assign it to a specific team member, which is fantastic, so that they could act on it. You can also see very much automated metadata that's coming in with each feedback, which is helpful. You don't have to shift through things. And then also integration, sending it, to Jira. And then also we're adding, BI tools as an integration as well, because, we see customers and the industry is going more into statistics and analysis and combining different data sources. So I definitely wanted to just like have this up so we could kind of show the viewers an example of the things that we're talking about.
Yeah, if only I had this right 10 years ago. You touched there on a couple of things that I actually did not mention before, right? There's a three things that as I was hearing you, they were coming back to me. One challenge normally is how to get people to actually give you feedback. That's like the number one challenge. Before we get 200 answers, how do we get 200 answers? And making it extremely easy, and maybe you can actually show us how, but making it, you gave it a glimpse of that well-designed product market fit survey, so on. So making it extremely easy, very contextual inside the application for people to give you feedback. Like they need to perceive the effort of answering things as really, really low. Otherwise, it's like yet another survey. And guess what? They use another 20 tools, and everybody's asking for it. And then obviously, once you have the answers, organize it, tag it, whatever, cluster it, and finally act on it. I think those are get it, organize it, and act would be the three things that come to mind.
No, it's true. Like it is great, like what our manual process, because when you mentioned like you were clustering, I could just picture going through all of that feedback and then having the work that you do to actually, make sense out of it. But then, of course, like something using a tool like UserSnap, you could just make that process so efficient.
So you can just go through it and tag it as you read it, right? That's what I understood.
Exactly.
Release validation, as I think I mentioned it a little while ago, is key to measure whether or not the feature had the outcome for your users that you were expecting. I like to track I like to run customer satisfaction surveys, like with a 5-star rating kind of thing. or customer effort survey. Those are the two that I believe are, yes, that's right. Those ones that are more suitable for validating features individually.
Mhm.
I've seen teams running NPS surveys to do this, but then NPS surveys are typically about the overall satisfaction of a product, and in this particular case, and for bigger products, we want to zoom in and figure out again whether or not that feature had the outcome for the users that we were expecting. So sometimes I'll give a little tip. Sometimes I use 4-star ratings just because it's easy for people to rank it right in the middle.
Yeah.
And I want to force them to make a
To make a
decision.
decision.
Was
Yeah.
this positive or was this negative?
Mhm.
But yeah, you may want to play with that as well. But
Oh, cool.
that's more or less how I go about this.
Okay. And I think a lot of us know the difference between these surveys, and you mentioned the NPS. So when would you be using the NPS, just so that we make sure we're sharing enough knowledge? When would you be using the NPS versus the star rating you were just speaking about? And what's the difference?
Yeah, so well, for those folks that might not know what NPS is basically a one-question survey. You ask how likely would you recommend this product to a friend or a peer, and it's from 1 to 10.
Mhm.
And it's roughly this. If users answer in the first 6, 1 to 6, you want to act, they will likely churn, so you want to act and ask them, what can you do to help them? If they answer 9 or 10, they're very excited about your product, and you may want to ask them to leave a review on g2.com or something like that. So it's a survey. It's a survey about the overall satisfaction about someone related to your product. So I like to ask that question every 3 months to the active users of the product and sort of measure the pulse of
Yeah.
user satisfaction over time. And that gives us sort of a top level view of user satisfaction. And if something is wrong with that metric or it went down, you can then try to correlate with, did we launch something? Did we change something? I don't know. And that's when you go more micro and then run a second analysis, maybe with other types of questions.
That's great. No, thanks for sharing that. I think that's still always useful and good reminders. And even though AI has not been new, it is something now that is being adopted, as I see. I don't think you could read LinkedIn without every company incorporating AI intelligence, which is fantastic. And we are also at UserSnap doing that. We had a whole innovation week about it because it's so important, and it is what is going to make the product and the experience better for our customers. Do you have any thoughts about how AI is shifting, product-led growth and the strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to what's coming next. If
Mhm.
we're talking about feedback in particular, you already hinted on that a little bit. The process of clustering feedback can be greatly improved by AI. I often use ChatGPT to do some of that already. Like you
Mhm.
just copy and paste the reviews and start asking questions in the context of those reviews. Also, another so that but it's still a bit clunky, right? I have to
Mhm.
copy and paste and
Mhm.
whatnot. So there's that. So I hope tools like yours and others incorporate some of this automatically, so we can just get to the action as quickly as possible. So that's what I think was going to happen, is that there's still some effort from the moment you collect all the feedback to the moment you can act, because of all the analysis and all of that stuff that needs to happen, that is going to be shortened, and hopefully we can act quicker, so users will be happy as well. As for other things, I think AI will also help with correlating feedback with user behaviors and other more deep deep characteristics of users.
Mhm.
So again, our decisions, I think the outcome is going to be, we'll make much better decisions, much more informed decisions about with the feedback that we're collecting.
Great, which all just leads to faster growth, which every company is
For
our
sure.
goal, right? No, that's really great, and I'm glad we were able to shed a little light on that. But I know we're on the hour, so I wanted to see if there's any last things you wanted to share. But I'm just so excited that we were able to have this conversation. And I thank you for joining us today, and I'm looking forward to our next chats. But before you sign up, you feel free to share anything else, and then we could end this.
Yeah, I'll just say that if you're not running any sort of NPS or customer satisfaction surveys, start next week. Don't procrastinate. So that's that. And thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Great. Thank you so much.